The end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for that is the whole duty of everyone. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
Hi, I'm Nina.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And this is the Fig Tree Podcast.
So today we are talking about the book of Ecclesiastes. But first, why don't we check in? Jacob?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Just got back from Ecuador and from Missouri. I went to my dad's wedding, which was beautiful. It was wonderful. We had a great time, and then went right to Ecuador to go on a little mission service trip with the youth in our diocese, which was it was a phenomenal experience. It was so good. And so I would love to go back. How are you doing?
Nina?
I'm doing great. Well, Jacob was in Ecuador. I was celebrating some birthdays in my family, and then today just found out that there's going to be a second baby coming, a second grandchild. So we're super, super excited. Just celebrated birthday number 1 for the first one, and then next year we'll have another birthday to celebrate.
That's so special.
And I'm doing well as well. And we have our sinkhole filled and our trellis fixed, and there's no leaking water at the moment, so we're pretty happy about that.
And what did you do today, Mike?
I cleaned a bunch of fish.
Really? Just a normal everyday Thursday for you?
Yeah. So my friend called me, and they got in from a long-range 3-day trip, and they had a bunch of fish, and they needed help cleaning fish, so I went down there, and it's been an hour and a half getting stinky.
Sounds like so much fun.
But we want everyone to know he is not stinky at this moment because he has covered himself in rose oil.
Yes.
So we were all thinking of Mary in this moment.
Yeah.
She has filled the room with fragrance of rose.
Yes. So yeah, this is one of my favorite books of the Bible, Ecclesiastes. And I love Ecclesiastes because it has this just radically different perspective than so much of the Bible. And it really calls into question a lot of our deepest assumptions and thoughts, and really points us towards what's really truly important, and uncovers the stuff that we think is important, but maybe isn't so much. So what are your guys' impressions of Ecclesiastes?
I believe it gives us a lot of wisdom and of how to live and some guidance. And I really like the talk of things that are meaningless and vanity, and the other things about showing us how to do good things for other people to get us out of our vanity and out of ourselves. And a lot of these things that I practice in my life. So it's really, I think it's a wonderful book.
Yeah, I like it as well. I think it's beautiful. It definitely reflects a specific lens on the world that shows that the author had some very deep thought, very deep discernment about life. There's definitely the theme of skepticism, which is quite evident. But what's good is it doesn't just leave us there. It gives us some relief spots, shall we say.
Yeah. I think that this book, it's one of those books that you read and you think, how did this end up in the Bible? At first, like the first read, you think, this is so weird. Why is this in here? But then the longer you sit with it, the more it just starts to sit with you and to kind of soak in, I guess. And suddenly you see that there's this amazing wisdom that it has to offer, and this amazing perspective that it has to tell us about life. So why don't we start talking about the book?
All right. Well, Ecclesiastes records the teachings of Kohelet, the teacher. The book begins, the words of the teacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. So traditionally, the author was thought to be Solomon, something that he did in his maturity. But scholars and interpreters have mostly understood the book as portraying itself as standing in the wisdom tradition of Solomon, rather than being by Solomon himself. It was probably written around 300 BCE, 600 years after Solomon.
Wow. So, Hevel. The book begins with a prologue, which introduces the main theme of the book. Ecclesiastes 1, 2 through 11. Vanity of vanities, says the teacher. Vanity of vanities. All is vanity. What do people gain from all the toil at which they toil under the sun? Generation goes and generations come, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises and the sun goes down, and hurries to the place where it rises. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. Round and round goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they will continue to flow. All the things are wearisome, more than one can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, or the ear filled with hearing. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there a thing which is said, see, this is new? It has already been in the ages before us. The people of long ago are not remembered, nor will there be any remembrance of people yet to come by those who come after them.
Yeah, so that refrain that that the passage starts with, vanity of vanities. It's this translation of a Hebrew phrase. It's hevel hevelim.
Bless you.
So what's going on there is you've heard the phrase King of Kings, right? Like King of Kings, Lord of Lords. So this is a construction in Hebrew that basically means like the highest that there could be, right? If you're the Lord of Lords, then you're like the biggest Lord, I guess. So it's called a superlative construction. And so hevel hevelim, or vanity of vanities, it means like it's as vain as it could be, right? Although it doesn't necessarily mean vanity itself. Hevel just means vapor. So it's hard to translate, but it's like this idea of it's ethereal, it's vapor, it's smoke, it dissipates.
It's not
gone.
permanent.
Mm-hmm, it's impermanent.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's a central idea that Kohelet is presenting, is this idea that everything, and he means everything, is hevel. Everything dissipates.
And that's a really good lesson for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the teacher explores all the different things in life that we think are important and determines that they are hevel. All of these things that we think give life meaning are actually, in a sense, meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So even like he starts, for example, with pleasure. So this is one of the things, right, that we pursue in life is pleasure. But he says, so I became great and surpassed all who were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remained with me. Whatever my eyes desired, I did not keep from them. I kept my heart from no pleasure. For my heart found pleasure in all my toil, and this was my reward for all my toil. And then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had spent in doing it. And again, all was vanity and a chasing after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun. I like that phrase, chasing after wind, you know. Like,
we do a lot of that, don't we?
Right. Chasing our tail, chasing after wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feels important, but
It's not really.
no.
Yeah.
The only thing that really gives me something where I feel it's not vanity is when I'm doing things for God or for others. When I'm doing selfish things,
Right.
and what my brain tells me are great ideas and great things, and I need this and I need that. It's vanity,
Yeah.
chasing the wind.
I think that's like an interesting point here is that like when he talks about pleasure, he's not talking about it like as such, I suppose. He's talking about it like selfish pleasure, right? We pursue pleasure for selfish ends. And to him, it's vanity. There's no point in doing it, really. It doesn't end up anywhere.
Well, what about work?
Well, I can put work in that place, just like drugs and alcohol. I can put it in its place, and it's making me not think about the real things that are important. It's taking my mind off of things and off of God. Right, I'm not focused on doing things for others. I can sometimes work can be a great thing, and I love my job because I can. Every person I see, I go, "Hi, how can I help you today? What can I do for you?" Right? Then it has purpose. Yeah. When I'm just running around chasing my tail and chasing the wind and trying to hurry up and get this done and get that done, I'm spinning my wheels. I'm just doing. I like to call it filling boxes. They're checking boxes off. I did all these things, so I should feel great.
And it's a lot easier to justify your busyness if you're using your time with work versus pleasure.
Right.
Like it is somehow more virtuous, but it's really the same in many ways. Well, let's see what Ecclesiastes says about this. Chapter 2, again. I hated all my toil in which I had toiled under the sun, seeing that I must leave it to those who come after me, and who knows whether they will be wise or foolish. Yet they will be master of all for which I toiled and used my wisdom under the sun. This also is vanity.
I think this is so funny because he's like, I'll build all this stuff and then some idiot will come after me and ruin it all, right? But this is true, right? Like we try so hard to build the biggest things, the greatest things to like make a name for ourselves, right? And I think this is actually where midlife crises come from, is you like work all of your life and toil and toil and toil to build this great thing. And then finally you realize, oh, like it's just going to go away eventually. And, or maybe it doesn't work out the way you hoped it would, or you like sit there and you think, I did all this and this is all I have now.
And what did you sacrifice in order to get, quote, all that? Probably some family relationships.
Yeah. And it ends up all being vanity. It's not fulfilling.
Well, the next logical thing to talk about is money. Is money hevel?
I think it is, yeah.
All right.
Ecclesiastes says, the lover of money will not be satisfied with money, nor the lover of wealth with gain. This also is vanity. When goods increase, those who eat them increase, and what gain has their owner but to see them with his eyes? As they came from their mother's womb, so they shall go again, naked as they came. They shall take nothing for their toil, which they may carry away with their hands. This also is a grievous ill. Just as they came, so shall they go. And what gain do they have from toiling for the wind?
Ooh. Can't take it with you.
Can't take it with you.
Never see a U-Haul behind a hearse.
Never.
Yep.
Yeah, this is some pretty cutting scripture, right?
It really is, yeah.
Really gets to the essence of it.
Well, yeah, because like we spend most of our lives, most of us anyway, spend most of our lives trying to earn money because, I mean, we need it to survive, frankly.
And build a family. And,
yeah. But we also attach so much of our self-worth to how much money we have. And I think what this says is, well, it doesn't really, like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you're going to die and you can't take it with you. So what really matters, right?
Right. And I've lost a lot of things in my lifetime, lots of jobs and houses and wives and things like that. And none of them really mattered. What really matters is that I'm a child of God. And that I will always be a child of God. It doesn't matter what I have or what I've built or any of my legacies. I'm always going to be a child of God.
Yeah.
And Jesus had asked me or asked us to leave everything and come follow him.
Yeah. So money is hevel. What else?
Well, let's see. We've been talking about power, possessions. Prestige. Prestige can't be hevel.
I like that alliteration. That's very
Okay.
nice. But yes, prestige. It's not hevel actually. It's actually very good, and that's what Kohelet wants us to seek.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what it says about fame and status.
Mike, could you read that?
Is there a thing of which it is said, see, this is new? It has already been. In the ages before us, the people of long ago are not remembered, nor will there be any remembrance of the people yet to come by those who come after them.
Everybody thinks they're special, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm leaving a legacy. They're going to remember me forever.
This is actually a really tough one, I think, because like I don't think we often think about the fact that like we are going to be forgotten. Like if not in a couple generations, after several, nobody is going to remember your name or anything about you. And even if like you achieve great fame or something in this life, and maybe you will be remembered for a while, but like if we look back like 6,000 years, we know maybe 3 names of people or something, like that are common to people.
David and Moses.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Abraham.
Yeah, like there's just a handful of people that get remembered, and even then, like, do we really remember them as they really were and all of that, right? Like for the vast, vast, vast majority of us, we will be forgotten within like 2 or 3 generations, which is kind of a scary thought, I think.
Forgotten on earth.
Forgotten on earth. Yeah,
Yes.
that's an
Okay.
Very important.
very important qualification. Yeah.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
so fame, status, prestige, it's meaningless.
Money, work, pleasure,
Yeah.
but certainly wisdom isn't hevel.
Well,
Well,
Kohelet says, all this I have tested by wisdom. I said, I will be wise, but it was far from me. That which is far off, or what that which is far off, and deep, very deep. Who can find it out? That's a tough one, I think, because he's showing how wisdom is not ultimately like truly graspable. We can't grasp it, at least in its essence, right? We can kind of get some of it, but we can't understand like truly. So then he says something even more intense. So would one of you want to read that?
Sure. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly as light excels darkness. The wise have eyes in their head, but fools walk in darkness. Yet I perceive that the same fate befalls all of them. Then I said to myself, what happens to the fool will happen to me also. Why then have I been so very wise? And I say to myself, this is also vanity. There is no enduring remembrance of the wise or of fools, seeing that in the days to come all will have been long forgotten. How can the wise die just like fools? So I hated life, because what is done under the sun was grievous to me, for all vanity and chasing after the wind.
Ouch. I hated life because what is done under the sun was grievous to me, for all is vanity and a chasing after wind. I think it's at this point that we see, like, we just have to sit with the discomfort of this book a little bit. Like, it doesn't quickly give us resolution, I suppose, to what it's deconstructing. What do you think about that?
So I felt just like this end of this verse, right? I had times in my life where I was restless, irritable, discontent, that nothing would fulfill me, or all these things that I was chasing after didn't work anymore. So I just felt empty. Like I didn't have a purpose, and there was nothing to fulfill me. And then I realized that the only thing that's important is that I'm a child of God, and that I need to follow that. And that self-reliance had failed me. So I needed this dependence upon God, and to answer everyday questions to guide me in the direction I needed to go, because the decisions and the things I was doing were vanity. And I felt like I wanted to die.
Yeah.
Exactly, because you were measuring yourself by the world standards. And that is something that is constantly shifting and changing, really hard to keep up with, right? Just pick up a magazine. It's really a losing endeavor. It's such a waste of time.
Where God loves us no matter what, all the time.
Exactly.
And that's was the only assurance that I felt. I felt full, that because my whole life, most of us, all we want to do is be loved no matter what, you know? And it was there all the time. He was holding my hand all the time, and I didn't even know.
And you didn't have to do anything, did you?
Because I was trying to please the world and myself.
Yeah, and you didn't have to necessarily change yourself.
No.
You were loved just as you were.
And I didn't need to have a house with a picket fence and a certain car, a certain wife, or any of those things. It just had to be me.
You know, Mike, it's interesting. I've thought about this before when we've talked about this, but like, I feel like there's a sense in which, like, what you've told me about like alcoholism and all of that, right? Hitting rock bottom, all of that. Like, there's a sense in which I don't want to say it's a gift, but kind of like, because we all spend our lives, as he says, like chasing after wind, and most of us die without realizing that that's what we were doing for our entire lives. We just do it in more manageable and socially acceptable ways. What do you think about that?
Well, I know that I gained this wonderful freedom when I knew that I didn't have to chase those things. I didn't have to chase the wind.
Yeah.
That God was going to love me no matter what, and be there no matter what. And I could come to face my past and my future just by being with God.
Yeah.
Made it so less scary.
And that's what God wants most, is relationship with you.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of your observations there tie into what are maybe two of Kohelet's central observations, which are, first, he realizes that we are going to die, and we are at our very essence, we're finite. You know, we're going to end. Everything that we did is going to go away. But second, we are not in control of the world, or in many ways, even in control of our own lives. And I think, like, every time you open your mouth, Mike, I feel like that sentiment comes out. We're not in control, you know?
But yet we construct all these things that make us feel that we are in control of our lives, but it's all hevel. It's all dust. It's all vapor.
So my first step is to admit that I'm powerless and that my life is unmanageable, right? And then I need to realize that there's something out there that I can get power from,
Right.
that can take my insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over, or doing the same thing knowing what's going to happen, and just keep doing the same thing, trying to please myself and the world, instead of just doing what God wants me to do,
Yeah.
which is seek him, be with him, invite him to be with me.
Not seeking God is just building a house of cards, right? One big wind and it's gone.
Yeah.
So we have already read a lot of verses where Kohelet talks about death, But we can also see that Kohelet sees the world as acting according to cycles and seasons, which are largely outside of our control. So, a very, very famous passage from chapter 3 begins, "For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace."
What a great passage, and also great song by Brett.
Right?
That's right.
I love that song.
Yeah. To everything, turn, turn, turn. Yeah.
So Kohelet sees the cycles as being a kind of great leveler, happening to us no matter who we are or what kind of person we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, notice how this idea relates to the ideas presented in Proverbs. They're actually quite different. In Proverbs, we have a picture of a world where if you live according to wisdom, things will go well for you. And if you don't, things will go poorly. This is like generally true, right? Well, Kohelet turns this on its head, because even if our choices can marginally improve or worsen our lives, life still happens to us, no matter who we are.
Again I saw that under the sun the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, nor the bread to the wise, nor the riches to the intelligent, nor favor to the skillful, but time and chance happen to them all. No one can anticipate the time of disaster, like fish taken in a cruel net, and like birds caught in a snare. So mortals are snared at a time of calamity, when it suddenly falls upon them. So, if everything is Hevel, what does Kohelet think is the purpose of life?
Well, there's really two answers to that. First, Kohelet teaches that since, in a sense, none of our pursuits in life are of ultimate importance, it actually frees us to simply enjoy our lives.
There is nothing better for mortals than to eat and drink, and find enjoyment in their toil. This also I saw is from the hand of God. For apart from him, who can eat or who can have enjoyment?
And then there's another one that I like. It's, "Go eat your bread with enjoyment and drink your wine with a merry heart. For God has long ago approved what you do. Let your garments always be white. Do not let oil be lacking on your head. Enjoy life with the wife whom you love, all the days of your vain life that are given you under the sun, because that is your portion in life, and in your toil at which you toil under the sun." There's like a deep resonance, I think, in this with certain kinds of philosophy, like often misunderstood, but Epicureanism, which is not, contrary to what a lot of people think, like just a vain pursuit of pleasure all the time, but is more the idea of just enjoying things because, face it, you're going to die, right? And so you should find a life that's meaningful and enjoyable to you, despite that. And it's also similar, I think, to absurdism as well, which kind of has a similar observation. But I like this idea, right? Like, hey, listen, you're going to die, so why not enjoy your life?
Yeah, why not enjoy your life?
Yeah.
So, as an addict, I can be addicted to anything, like working out in the gym.
Sure. Yeah.
It sets off endorphins. It makes me feel good about myself. I'm building myself up to be healthy and taking care of myself. And it could be really wise, and it's a smart thing to do. But at the same time, I go overboard. I'm doing it for me, and I'm one is too many, and 1,000 never enough. It's just you're always seeking more, and never getting to the end point. It's never enough.
There's a great Greek play about that, actually, where there's this like rich man and hunger like jumps on his back, and he's just constantly going like more, and he like eats everything, right? He eats, I think, even like his own mother or something. Like it's crazy, right? Because I think this is actually shows the difference, right? Is that it's not just about getting more pleasure. That's what he said was vain. Instead, it's about finding a contentedness. Like true pleasure is finding the content life, being at peace in your life. Enjoying what's in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
And giving thanks to God.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think leads us to our second point.
Well, the second point for Kohelet is really that what ultimately gives life meaning, and that is pursuing wisdom for its own sake and living in the fear of God. Kohelet sees wisdom as a hevel in a sense, but seems to think it's worth pursuing anyway. Which brings us back to a verse that we read earlier from chapter 2. Then I saw that wisdom excels folly as light excels darkness. The wise have eyes in their heads, but fools walk in darkness. Yet I perceived that the same fate befalls all of them. Then I said to myself, what happens to the fool will happen to me also. Why then have I been so very wise? And I said to myself that this also is vanity.
I think this is interesting because, like, at the same time, he says essentially that wisdom is vanity, but also that wisdom excels folly as light excels darkness. So wisdom's worth it not because it's not hevel, but it's worth it because it's worth it for its own sake. It's something we can enjoy for its own sake and live according to, just because it's a better life than not living according to wisdom.
So it's almost like he's asking himself, gosh, it took so much effort to get to this wisdom. What's even the point of it?
Yeah.
And yet he's saying the point of it is that it excels folly, which makes for a better life.
Right. Well, it's like, it's the difference between trying to accumulate the most wisdom, right? Like trying to get to conquer wisdom versus living in the wisdom that you slowly accumulate over the years.
Love that.
The last line of the book is this: the end of the matter, all has been heard. Fear God and keep his commandments, for that is the whole duty of everyone. For God will bring every deed into judgment, including every secret thing, whether good or evil. And so we end this book with a recognition that the fear of God is maybe something that gives, and he says this a couple times through the book, but that the fear of God is maybe the thing that ultimately gives life true meaning.
So I have this thing that I do, especially through the Old Testament, where anywhere it says fear, trust, or love, it's all the same thing to me. Like, so I can put any of those words in here. So like I can put love the Lord God with all your heart, mind, and soul. It's the same, and keep his commandments. It's the same thing. You know, I'm trusting God, I'm loving God, I'm fearing God. Because we have this thing where we fear, and we think we're supposed to be afraid of God. And I thought that all growing up because it was hell and damnation, and you're doomed, and you can't do this, or you're going to hell. And now I don't believe that. I believe that I have a loving God, and that all I have to do is follow him. But I want to follow him because what he's done for me.
Yeah. I think of fear like the same way that you see, like when you look out at the ocean, or I don't know if have you ever seen somebody's face the first time they see the Grand Canyon, where it's kind of like, whoa, that is way bigger than I thought it was going to be, right? The picture could never prepare you. And it's this overwhelming feeling of awe, right? Of you have a respect for it, right? Like you don't want to just like jump into the Grand Canyon, right?
It'll eat you up for sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. And God is infinite and powerful and huge, right? And when we get this sense, then we start to live into that fear of God. But it's not fear that we're scared. It's fear that we're like, we have a healthy respect, an awe, a desire even for, a fascination with.
So respect, love,
Right.
trust,
Mm-hmm.
awe.
Yeah.
Yeah, all great words for what we call fear right here.
Right.
So I have this bracelet that my sponsor gave me, and it says, God is everything, and everything is good. So I have this thing that I ask myself every morning, and it's part of the big book, and I read it to myself, and it's faced with self-imposed crisis. I couldn't either avoid or evade. I had to face the fact that God is either everything or God is nothing. God is either is or he isn't. And what is my choice to be? So today my choice is God is everything.
Amen.
Amen.
Well, I think that is the perfect place to stop for Ecclesiastes. So that's Ecclesiastes, and we will see you next week for the Song of Songs. Thanks for listening to the Fig Tree Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, or sharing this podcast on social media so others can join us. We hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you next time on the Fig Tree Podcast.